Welcome to Breaking Bread Presents Emotional versus Technical Bias. I know we've all entered a trade out of fear or of excitement, only to watch that trade pivot and go in the opposite direction. And I for sure know we've all held on to trades too long in hopes of price movement on our favor. Now, these are all examples of emotional biases. So, in today's session, I will be showing you the difference between emotional and technical biases. And I want to provide you guys some tips that'll help you get back control of your trading journey. So let's start off with emotional bias. So this occurs when feelings like fear, greed, overconfidence, and hope impacts your trading decisions. So there's some examples of that would be selling too early because you fear losing, revenge trading, and over leveraging your account. Now this tends to lead to irrational decisions, which tends to keep you from your actual trading plan. Now, your technical bias, this occurs when making decisions based on objective analysis, such as using patterns, indicators, and data. Now, some examples of that would be entering a trade after a range break, or using your fib levels to set entries or exits, or building confluence using some of those same indicators, patterns, and data that we should be using. Now, this focuses on logic, which helps you stick to your trading plan and helps to build that consistency. Now, some key differences between your emotional bias and your technical bias is your emotional bias, you are reactive to your feelings. So you're not reacting to price, you're letting your emotions control if you should take a trade or not get into a trade, cut the trade. You're using your emotions, your feelings. Whereas on the technical side, you're reactive to the data. So you're letting price on the charts and the indicators that you use and the patterns that you use and the data that you use to decide if you should take a trade, not take a trade, cut the trade. You're using that information to help make those decisions. Whereas on the emotional side of things, you're driven by fear, greed, or hope. But on the technical side, you're driven by strategy and logic. Your emotional bias brings inconsistent decision making, or your technical bias brings systematic and rule based decisions. Now, your technical bias is critical for long-term success in trading. Your technical bias brings consistency in your decision making. So you rely on predefined rules, strategies, which ensure your decisions are consistent. Your technical bias brings high probabilities of success. So over time, this structured approach improves your chances of making profitable trades. Your technical bias brings accountability, and growth. So you can review your strategy, learn from your mistake, and refine your methods, which brings growth and improvement. And your technical bias brings discipline, which is requires you to adhere to that same trading plan, which builds habits that can sustain over long term. Now, I know it's folks out there that's saying, well, we're human, so how can we not trade with emotions? Well, I feel like there's a difference between trading out of emotions and trading in emotions. Now, trading out of emotion, this is your emotional bias of trading. You're letting your emotions come out of you, and that controls your decision making. And it's putting your feelings over logic. Whereas trading in emotion, you acknowledge that your emotions are present, but you are actively managing them and sticking to your structured trading plan. So you're learning to coexist with them while maintaining your focus on your strategy. So you're emotionally aware rather than denying that they're there. Now, some tips that I would like to offer you guys is first, use a trading plan. This will help guide your decision and help keep you disciplined in your trades, which will ensure you making a consistent decision making. So if you don't have a trading plan, I recommend you getting a trading plan. Your trading plan should consist of something like your entries, your exits, your stop losses, your targets, what days you like to trade on, what part of the days you like to trade on, what setups you like to trade. This should all be included in your trading plan. Also, another tip I would recommend is you journaling your trades. And I'm not talking about the journaling that everybody does where they care more about their profits or how much they lost that day. That's not the type of journaling I'm talking about. I'm talking about you actually taking a trade or not taking a trade, but I want you to focus on the emotion that you felt on why you took the trade or why you didn't take the trade. Were you angry? Were you fearful? Were you anxious? That's what I want you guys to journal. So if you can identify those emotional patterns, then we can correct the behaviors. But don't identify these patterns and not correct the behavior. That's just pointless to me. That's really just pointless. So make sure if you're able to identify the emotion, let's work on ways to correct the behavior. So in the next trade, let's try to see if we're fearful of that last trade that we took. Let's work on maybe a better entry, or let's work on um, breathing techniques while we're in a trade. So these are all things that we could do to help build and correct those behaviors. Also, practice some type of stress management. This could be praying, meditating, taking a break, go outside, get some fresh air. I don't know if you guys do breathing exercises, but you can definitely do that as well. Just something that can control those emotions because they are going to show up. Like we said, we are human, but it's about having control over your emotions and not your emotions having control over you. Also, stick to your risk management rules, which is included in your trading plan with that stop loss, right? So, position sizing, stop loss placement based off your analysis and not your feelings. And last but not least, use alerts to help reduce those emotions. So if you need to set your alerts and then go run errands, and then when the alert goes off, and you can get into the trade from your phone, then go from there or on your laptop, whatever. Then do that instead of sitting in front of the chart all day and knowing yourself you're going to hop in every trade because you're sitting here watching the charts and now your emotions is taking over for you. So if you need to set alerts, set those alerts and go about your day. Alert go off. Let's go ahead and get in that trade because price told you to get into the trade, not your emotions. Now, let me know in the comment section below. I would love for you guys to respond with one emotional bias that you struggle with and then identify how you overcame them. I'm sure we share some of those same struggles. I'll put some in there as well because it wasn't smooth selling. It's never smooth selling for anyone. Um, but yeah, so do that for me in the comment section and let's see some of the same struggles that we share. All right, so we made it to the bread and butter of the class, which is just a brief recap of some of the things that we discussed in this session. First, we talked about emotional bias, which is just trading out of fear, greed, and hope. You want to make sure you are not trading out of those feelings or any feelings. This can lead to over trading and over leveraging your account. You want to make sure you're trading out of technical analysis biases. So that's you using patterns, indicators, and data. We've talked about how if you can trade out of your technical analysis biases, that's going to help build discipline because you're trading from a trading plan. You're using the actual strategy, the actual charts, the actual data from price. You're actually using the news from the day. You're actually using the strategy that you trust and believe in. That's going to help build your discipline. And then we talked about trading out of emotions versus trading in emotions. We talked about how trading out of emotions is your emotional bias, is you letting your emotions control yourself. Where in trading emotions, you are acknowledging that the emotions are there, but you are coexisting with them, but you're sticking to your actual strategy. So you are still in control of your emotions. So we have come to the end of this session. I thank you guys for joining me today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me or drop it in the question section under this video, and I will always respond. But until next time, I thank you guys for breaking bread with me. You guys stay blessed.